Hi, everybody. I'm Tori.
I'm Courtney, and we're your bitch pack friends.
Today, we're going to recap the new Amazon Prime movie, The Idea of You. And I'm actually really proud of myself for remembering the title because I always forget.
See, you were the one doing the intro, and I just panicked. I was like, what is it called?
It's such a generic title. And when I went to look it up, because I watched it on Thursday night, and when I went to look it up, I was like, what is this movie called again? Anne Hathaway movie? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
um,
how I kept picturing it. It was just Anne. Well, and it was funny you sent it to me. You were like, have you read or watched this? And so I looked it up, and the book cover, I was like, this? Like, are you sure? It just doesn't look very appealing.
well, you read a lot of books, so I feel like it was I was like 50-50 on whether or not you would have read it or not.
Yeah. And after watching the movie, I was like, oh, I would have liked this book, but I
Yeah.
probably would have never tried it just because of the cover.
Wait, what's the cover? I didn't really look at
I
it.
sent you the screenshot. It's just like very cheap looking. Like
Yeah,
it
maybe
looks
it is.
cheesy,
It's
but I like cheesy.
kind of a romance-ish, yeah, romance novel.
Yeah, like the
So,
most unrealistic romance novel.
except it happened to Harry Styles.
Wait,
Don't you think?
are you talking about the director?
Yeah,
What's okay?
Olivia
But
Wilde and Harry
she's
Styles.
not like a normal person.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. So you watched the movie last night. Did you like it? What'd you think?
I liked it. I couldn't I struggled through most of it, like trying to not roll my eyes.
Yeah,
But I still was like, you go, Anne. You
yeah.
get
I
that.
thought it was like a solid rom-com. Like
Yeah.
it was
It was cute.
enjoyable. I laughed. I wanted them to be together at the end. Like,
Same.
yeah, there were times where it was a little bit cringe, but you
Yeah,
know,
that's to be
you
expected.
push through.
Yeah. Well, and like I went into this having zero idea what was about to happen, and then once I realized what was happening, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But it was good.
I also love like Anne Hathaway. I think she's 40. She might be 41. And
In
I
real
feel like
life.
yeah, I feel like she's like just like in this era of being like, listen, I'm 40 and I'm really hot and I want
See,
everyone to know.
and I loved that about this movie is like she's showing all this confidence and like you can tell she feels hot and I'm like, "You can be
Yeah.
hot at 40. Why not?
Yeah.
She looks good."
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah.
She was in
Better than
another
ever.
another movie that came out like 6 months ago. It wasn't as popular, but she's also like very naked in that one. And I feel like she's just like,
Mm.
hey, she's
She's
like
having her
making a time
moment.
capsule for herself. So when she's 90, she can look back.
Be like, "That's me."
That was me.
Does she while I was watching it, I couldn't remember. Does she have kids in real life?
I think she has 2 kids.
Okay. That makes it fun.
Yeah.
Moms are hot.
And well, she's been doing. I keep seeing reels for this, but she's been doing. You know how like I think it's Vanity Fair will have an actor like look back on their old movies and like commentate on it,
Mhm.
and she's been doing that. And like she talked about like the Princess Diaries and Devil Wears Prada and stuff, and she's like, and they're really entertaining to watch the ones I've seen. But she like doesn't make fun of herself at all. Like she doesn't say like, "Oh, I was such a dork," or I was, my eyebrows are like she doesn't make fun of herself and she's like very confident even when she was a dork. and,
Yeah, I like
and
that.
I think it's really cool. Like her confidence in herself and her like unwillingness to kind of disparage herself, especially about how she looks.
Yeah, I do like that.
Um, what did you think about this guy, Nicholas Galazatine, the
I
the
thought
lead?
I liked him.
Yeah.
He's hot. I mean, he's English. Is he English in real life?
I think so.
Yeah, he's got tattoos. What's not to like?
Yeah. He also kind of looks like I mean, he is hot, but he also looks, I don't know, this is weird to say. He looks like a normal person kind of. Like he has like a
Yeah,
kind of a boy next door kind of look.
he has moments where he's just normal looking. And he almost I don't even know how to explain it. It's like where he's goofing around.
Yeah. And
That's
his
when he looks the
tattoos
most
are
normal.
like so silly look. I don't know, something about his
Okay.
tattoos.
Well, the tattoos just don't look real. They're like pitch black. It's like are they all fresh? Did he get these last week?
I don't think they're real.
No, they're not, but like if they wanted it to look realistic,
Yeah.
maybe don't use black paint.
And they're like a bunch of different little small tattoos.
Mhm.
That
Which
was funny.
I think that might be a trend with young people.
Yeah, that's what I have.
They call it, like, stamp what do they call it? It's like
Oh, I don't
stamp
know.
tattoos or something.
We have no idea what the young people are doing.
They call it sticker tattoos? I don't know.
Oh, okay. I like that. That makes me feel better because I've been feeling a
Yeah.
little bit self-conscious about all my little tattoos. I'm like, maybe I
Yeah.
need to man up someday.
You're like, "This isn't a sleeve."
Um, yeah, so I think I was surprised because they have in this movie the two characters have a pretty big age difference. He's 24, she's 40. But I was like very impressed by the chemistry that they had. And I feel like, I mean, even though it's like you know, it's a fantastical love story that would never happen, I was like, oh, like he's like, I don't know. It's like growing. It like I feel like there was like a level of believability to it of like, oh, they like each other, or like, oh, they're like he's winning her over, or they're learning more about
Mhm.
each other, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, there was a moment where I thought he was 19 because he's like, "The first 16 years of my life, my dad wanted nothing to do with me," and he was like, "The last few years, now that he's, like, in a boy band," he's like so I thought he was 19, and I was like, that's I mean, but those extra 5 years made a difference for me."
Yeah. Well, okay, that brings up a good point. So I wrote down I didn't read the book, but I did write down a couple of the differences between the book and the movie. So the book came out
Mhm.
in 2017. How long ago was that? 7 years ago. And and one of the key differences, I might even say the most important difference, is that in the book Hayes is 20 and Selene is still 40. And I feel like that changes things dramatically. That changes the story completely for me.
Yeah,
Because 20 is icky.
that's icky. Well, and, like, I don't know any 20-year-old guys or even 24-year-old guys, but thinking back to when we were 20 and 24,
Yeah.
like, they're not like that.
Yeah. I remember a couple years ago, one of my friends was 32, and we had a mutual friend that really wanted to set her up with this guy that I knew, and I was like, he's 22, and she's like, it's fine. He's
And
a
she
good
was how
guy.
old?
32.
Okay.
Um, and she was like, "It's fine. He's a good guy. He's very mature." And I was like, "There's no way." and,
It's
and then
just
and then she asked my friend that she wanted to set up, and she was like, "Absolutely not. 10 years, no."
no, I can't do it.
So,
Well, and
yeah,
what's funny is like, so I met my husband when I was 23 and he was 33. And him being 10 years older, I was still more mature than him at
yeah,
23 years old. So it's like men, at least every single guy I've ever known, I think they just take longer. So trying to picture a 24-year-old acting like that, I just couldn't see it.
yeah, yeah. I do think it's different for men and women because
Hmm.
all the implications, like, if a 24-year-old guy marries a 40-year-old woman, like, they're probably not going to have kids, and that's a big commitment to make when you're 24.
Yes, it is.
Or I mean, maybe they will, but probably not.
Yeah,
Like,
they're going to need help doing it.
yeah. um. So that was one of the big differences. The other difference that I have been kind of thinking about and not sure how I feel, but so Izzy, the daughter, in the book she's 12, and in the movie she's 16. Um, and I think that was kind of a good choice because she's like a lot more like she's almost an adult. I think her mom like takes her opinion really seriously in the movie,
Hmm.
and but also like wants to be a mom, and like that's part of the reason that she breaks up with Hayes is because she wants to be a good mom.
Hmm.
So I feel like that was a good choice too.
Yeah, because the 12-year-old, I mean, the,
Yeah. And with Izzy, so in the movie they make it like so clear that they say it like 4 times that Izzy does not have a crush on Hayes. She
yes,
likes
make that
Rory.
clear. She
They're like
likes
made it
Rory,
crystal clear. They brought it up like 4 times.
and
But
that matters.
in the book she actually does have a crush on Hayes, and that was like
Oh no.
part of the conflict was that like her mom's banging this guy that she has a crush on.
She's in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I do like better that she didn't like him.
yeah, because that would have been weird. That would have I don't know.
Mhm.
It's um
And I think it helped that she was, like, over his boy band. at
Oh
this
yeah.
age.
Yeah. So I feel like they just tried to like minimize that conflict as much as possible
Hmm.
altogether.
And I was annoyed that she kept breaking up with him. I'm like, what are you doing? Especially like with the kid thing. I'm like, listen, if daddy doesn't want me anymore, but Harry Styles does, my
Yeah.
kids are going to have to adjust.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out. That's easy to say because that would never happen. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like they did a good job with that though, because the daughter like got on board and she was willing to go through all the press and scrutiny of it, and then they did it, and it was like too much. And then the
yeah,
mom
she
was like,
couldn't
"I'm
do
not."
it.
She's like, "I'm not doing this to you."
Hmm.
So I feel like
Very good mom.
yeah, so it like made you like not resent the daughter for like taking away this opportunity for the mom. And it's like everybody tried and it just didn't. It's the press yet again.
Yeah, they
We
got
blame
her.
we
And the
blame them for everything.
kids at school are being little a-holes.
Yeah. Do
Oh,
you think?
okay. So when they went to the 5 years later,
Yeah.
they not make him look older without making him look like shit? That do you know what I'm talking about? This
You did a
it
lot of.
looked like they put fake hair on his
Yeah.
chin, and I was just like, No, now I don't want him anymore."
Yeah. he probably he had a hard 5 years.
Yeah, he's been through it.
um. Yeah, I was okay. So I was really surprised that because like again I didn't know anything about this movie or the story or what to expect, but I was super surprised that they broke up at the end and then they had like the 5 year gap and the epilogue where he comes back, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, this is so precious.
Yeah,
Like
romantic.
because it's like he really loved her.
Yeah, it was real.
Yeah, and that's again another difference between the book and the movie, because in the movie or in the book they go through a similar process. They try to make it work. Selene breaks up with him, and then she never gets over him, and he eventually moves on and stops contacting her. And I'm like, that's so depressing.
That's the end of the book.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't read it. What a waste
Spoiler
of
alert.
time.
Spoiler
Waste of
alert.
time.
But I was reading an article this morning that said the author well, the headline was the author quoted as saying, "This is not the story I wanted to tell." And
Your
so it
story
made it
sucked.
so it made it sound like she was pissed about it. But then I actually there's so much fake like clickbait headlines that seems to lack integrity, because I read the article, and the article actually is the author saying like, this is how I wanted the book to go, but obviously books and movies are different and you have to give it that Hollywood ending. And she's like, I think it was a good call for the movie, blah 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 blah.
Okay, good. She was
And
on board
and it's like, why would you put that headline? Because you make the author sound like a bitch.
to make you
But
read it.
and it's not like representative of the actual truth. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I was frustrated by that.
Typical.
Fake
Typical.
news, clickbait, they got me.
Fake news. They got you good.
um but yeah, but I mean I feel like that's a really mature like way to handle it. Like especially once you sell the rights to the books, it's not yours anymore.
Yeah.
So
See ya.
yeah.
Um, can I talk about one of my favorite parts of the movie?
Yeah, please.
So it's like their first little trip together. Where are they? New York is their first outing. Well, it's not even an outing. They're like packed away
She
in their
just shows up
hotel
at the
room,
hotel.
and she's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So they're romping, whatever. They're getting down, and then it cuts to like he's on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, can I get the chicken strips?" And it's like, "Uh oh." So it's just like, "Yep, they're doing it." And then it's like, remember, he's a child.
He's a boy.
He's just a young boy.
He's gonna pay for the chicken strips. He's gonna have to pay. Those chicken strips are probably $40.
Yeah. And then I just like I that was probably when I liked him the most, is when they were in that hotel
Yeah.
room and he's just like dancing around and he's smoking his joint.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun scene. I
Yes.
mean, again, I feel like I really was like bought into like, oh, I could see how this would happen, like a scorned divorcee woman that's
Hmm.
like coming alive with this younger guy,
Yeah, why not?
and having fun for the first time in a long time.
Yes. And feeling hot doing it.
Yeah.
So something I wish there was more of is it's like You don't see anything serious happening. They're just, like, traveling and just, like, hooking up, and he's in a
Yeah.
boy band, so, like, he probably does this a lot, just, like, brings girls out, and then all of a sudden they're like, "I love you."
Oh
It's
yeah.
like there's no they're just,
Yeah.
like they go from hooking up to, like, serious.
Yeah. I felt that too. I was that scene where they're at, I forget what country they're in, but they're by the pool and she starts to feel all self-conscious and they get in that fight.
Mhm.
I'm like, when did you guys fall in love? Like
Yeah. Her
there's no
expectations.
yeah, there's no reason. I mean, I could see how she would be attached to him, but there's no reason that she should believe that she's different from any of the other women that he is hooking up with.
Yeah, well, and apparently he had a thing for older women anyways, because 'cause they're talking about some other person who was, like, 50 even older maybe? Am I
Yeah.
thinking of is that right?
I was thinking 33, but
Oh,
maybe I
okay.
missed it. But
I
yeah,
don't
even still, like, I mean,
either
that's
way,
still pretty
older lady.
significant for him. Yeah. Yeah, so when that happened, I was like, she has no reason to think that this guy's in love with her. Like,
Yeah, this boy
he
band,
just has some weird fetish and she's like the
that's
flavor
yeah.
of the month.
That was what I thought the whole time. I was like, "Does this happen?" I was like, "If young guys like older women, like, it's gotta be a fetish,
Mhm.
because like, why else would they?"
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're just bored because they had all the younger.
They're like, "I hate these perfectly toned bodies and
Yeah.
collagen-filled faces."
Yeah. Well, and in that same scene, that was the part I'm kind of split about how I feel about this because I do understand that like if you're 40 and you're hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds, you would probably feel self-conscious about your body. Unless your body is Anne Hathaway's body, which
Yeah,
I'm like,
what's the
and I'm
problem?
like, she's not going out there in that like full body cover up and
Right. How is that better than your body?
those girls should look at her and be jealous. Like,
Yes. Exactly.
yeah, so that scene
I
was tough.
I did hate those teenage girls.
Yeah,
Well, they're not
they're
teenagers, I'm sure, but they
they're
acted like
probably yes, they're probably
and
young 20s.
and they try to make them look young. They're like, "Do you guys want popsicles?" It's like, "Oh, come on." The same as the chicken finger thing.
Yeah. It is weird. It is a weird dynamic that Hayes is closer in age to her daughter than to her, but I don't
Yeah.
know. She shouldn't think about it too much.
Yeah, just don't even worry about that.
Don't think about it. Um, let me see. One other thing that was different was so she gets divorced from Daniel, and in the movie they make a big deal about how Daniel cheated on her, and I think that makes her very sympathetic. Because you're like, oh, this guy's a douchebag. But in the book that didn't happen. He she
It was
just
just
she just
divorce.
felt like she like couldn't be herself with him, and so she divorced him, which is like not sympathetic at all.
Right.
Like, it's like you gave up your handsome, hardworking, rich husband and father of your child so that you could like feel slightly better about yourself.
Yeah,
That's
what
kind of
more
a
do you need?
that's kind of a dick move.
You little selfish prick.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
in the
so I
movie he was an a-hole,
yeah. I
and
thought
it helped.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, because you're like you want her to like have a win, like
Yeah,
so
take
bad.
take that.
Yeah, and then when he finds out about I love it when he finds out about Hayes and he's like, "This isn't happening, is it?" He's like, "This would be ridiculous." She's like,
Ooh, I really liked the scene where they're arguing in her house when Hayes is there, and he's like, "Do you know what they're saying about you?" And she just goes, "No." Like, she doesn't give a shit. And I was like,
yeah,
"Woo,
that was
tell
badass.
him."
I
It
like
was
that.
cool.
Um, I also like the weird I was curious about where it was gonna go, and it didn't really end up going anywhere except for like good for a few laughs. But her relationship with Hayes's new wife and how the wife was like always trying to like be friends. She
Oh,
was
with
like,
her
she's like,
ex's
yeah, and
new
she's like,
wife?
no. She's like, we're not friends.
Yeah.
Like we are not in
Yeah.
on the joke together.
The
Like
scene
when she tells her
this
that she's leaving, and she's like,
yes.
I don't care.
She's like, "Do you wanna go get Thai food together?" "No.
Never.
You ruined my
Absolutely.
life."
Yeah. But that
I
also I can see a woman being delusional like that. Like
yeah. Like, let's be friends. We both dealt with this asshole, but like
We're both
you
women. Women have solidarity. Like,
yeah, do they? What you just did? I really liked the beginning of the movie where it's after she drops Izzy off at her dad's house and then she comes back home and she's getting ready to go on her camping trip and she's in the mirror and she was like mocking the new girlfriend or wife, whatever she is.
yeah.
I thought that was really funny. It was like Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids said, like, you do. It gave me that vibe.
That's awesome. Yeah, Anne Hathaway can be funny sometimes.
Yeah, I liked it.
And then the only other difference was, or that I am aware of, is that instead of meeting at Coachella like they do in the movie, in the book they meet in Vegas. I don't
Hmm.
know what's significant about that, but it seems a little more family friendly to
Vegas or Coachella?
Coachella. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never been to
I guess neither
Coachella.
of them is particularly family friendly. I
They meet
probably wouldn't
at
bring my
Disney
12-year
World.
old. If I had a 12-year-old, I'd probably be too poor to bring them to either place.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't think I ever want to take my kids to Vegas.
Yeah. I don't.
I don't. What is there for them to do? Swim in the pool.
Yeah, then you can't go have fun.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like Coachella's so hot right now, though. It's like it's a kind of a fun tailor-made Coachella. Cool again.
Did she?
And
Did she?
then they drop this movie.
I feel
Um,
like Coachella looked fun when we were like in our 20s, and now I'm like, oh, you couldn't pay me to be there.
I would, if someone offered me tickets, I would go, but I am not gonna make it happen for
But
myself.
like, I can tell I'm getting old because I like don't know who most of the artists are.
Yeah.
And then when I hear their stuff, I'm like, this? Turn this racket down.
I know. I don't know what the kids are listening to these days. I feel like
Kids these days.
you're my Gen Z correspondent. I don't know where you get your info from, or if it's correct. But you're always like, this is what kids are doing, and I'm like, oh, cool.
Well, I think I'm on like Gen Z, like my algorithm
No.
with
Oh,
like random mom
do you
videos
know?
thrown in.
Okay, this is a random aside, but just bear with me. Do you know what it is when you go like this and then you go like that?
Nope.
I keep
We're both
seeing
out of the loop.
I keep seeing videos of people like drawing the trace of their jawline, and I googled it and I can't find. I went to a Red Wings game and they kept like on the jumbotron they kept zooming in on people and then they would do it, and then I've seen it like on TikTok and stuff, and
That's one I haven't seen. So
I don't know. I'm
you're
not
ahead of
gonna
me.
not. It's a real thing, I promise. But
My first thought was like girls showing off their like snatched jawlines because I know at one point it was like they'd show off their profiles, but if they're doing it on the jumbotron, that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I don't know. I'll find out more. I'll report back.
Okay, deep dive.
Yeah. Yeah, so would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I think so. Not to like my husband, but to my friends. Yeah.
He would I'm trying to imagine how long Joe would last watching this movie.
Okay, he was like next to me on his phone and he like paid attention for the first, I don't know, 20 minutes and then he just left. So
Yeah.
it didn't hold him.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Okay, before we move on, one thing I found very relatable in this movie was when I think she's originally, it's after he invites her to come to New York, and at first she says no, and then she like is home alone and she starts watching YouTube videos of him. It's like,
I'm
this is just so
going.
relatable, being a creep on the internet.
Yeah. She's
Went
like, what
home
are
and
we
stalked
dealing
him
with
on the
here?
internet.
Yeah. And she was not turned off by that. So what I loved is it was just like they were like, let's make him Harry Styles and get the rest of One Direction, but a little more like racial diversity. And he even like sounded like he was in One Direction, his singing voice. Is that his real singing voice? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I think he might sing in some other things.
So maybe.
Because he was in that one Cinderella movie with Camila Cabello.
Oh, that was another person he reminded me of. Who's the guy that dated her? Shawn Mendes.
Oh yeah, yeah. That he's
Especially the 5 years later, where it's just him like a guitar singing. That reminded
yeah,
me of Shawn Mendes.
yeah. They have a similar look.
And
Um,
sound.
yeah. I wonder how much. I wonder how much this was inspired by Harry Styles, at all,
A
if at all.
lot. A lot.
Also, I had to look up a YouTube video to learn how to pronounce this guy's name, Nicholas Galazatine, and
Galazatine.
I know that there is. Have you heard about like how celebrities are like wanting to like use their real names? Like Emma Stone is like, my real name's Emily.
I didn't know
Have you
that
heard
was a
that?
thing. No. Is
Well,
it
when you
really?
yeah, like so
Oh.
when you become like when you get into the union or whatever, there's you're not allowed to have a name, a professional name that's already taken.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's some like Australian soap opera actress named Emily Stone. And so that name was already taken. And so Emma Stone was like, I'll be Emma Stone.
They just pick a name.
And now that she's been famous for like 10 years, she's like, actually, my name's Emily.
Now that I'm like hot shit, you can call me by my real name.
Yeah. And then there was someone else there, I can't remember who it is, but there was somebody else that was like, I want to use my real name too. But legally they're supposed to be using their like registered stage name.
Hmm.
Um,
Didn't know that was happening.
yeah. So I'm curious to see but anyway, all that to say, I feel like Nicholas Galazatine should have used a stage because
It's a big name.
it's just a mouthful.
Nobody's gonna say it right.
Yeah, or like I remember reading that Leonardo DiCaprio, when he was becoming famous, his agent like wanted him to change like use the stage name like Barry Williams or something like that. Like they were like, DiCaprio, too many syllables.
Nobody's gonna know this. And it's actually like the most
Which,
perfect
I mean,
name.
honestly, it probably was good advice at the time because like you didn't know Leonardo DiCaprio was going to become Leo DiCaprio, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I did know that a lot of them changed their names to just like be more catchy or like
Hmm.
more memorable or like sound prettier even, but I
Yeah,
didn't know they were deciding to use their real names again.
I like I like Emma Stone. I think it's a good name.
It's a
I think
cute
she should
name.
stick with it.
Everybody who's named their babies Emma after her are probably like, God damn it. It's not even a name.
Uh, um, yeah. So, well, anyway, I like this guy. I think he's got a good future ahead of him.
Yeah. Do we know how, for science, how tall is he?
Oh no, I don't know.
Because he looked tall. He looked big and tall, which was like an upgrade from Harry Styles being short and scrawny.
Um, he's 6 feet tall.
Oh, average.
That's more well, that's slightly above average.
Is it?
Anne Hathaway's 5'8".
Same. Actually, I'm 5'7".
I think average for a man is like 5'10", actually,
Oh, so all
in
right.
America.
I guess 6 foot is good. My husband is 6 feet tall, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, if you would have been 1 inch shorter, we wouldn't be here right now. 6 foot's my limit.
Keep him humble.
Yep. Keep him humble.
You know, I read that in Europe that's not a thing because they use like they use meters or centimeters or whatever for
Oh,
their
like,
height. Yeah. So like here, like the magic number is 6 feet. Like if you're
mm-hmm.
above 6 feet, you're like
You're
it's
good.
hot. Yeah. And
They
they're
don't, yeah.
I don't know if they have a different number or not, but like it's just like a different it's like a different cutoff, which
Do
I
they
think is
not? Oh, so they still like tall guys, but it's not like
yeah.
they don't
But
have a
there's not like
specific
this
number.
yeah, there's not like the 6 feet rule. It's probably a little bit shorter actually,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I just thought that was funny how we
Why?
have
Why
this.
do they do that? Why are all of like the Hollywood stars, the men, why are they little?
I
Does it
think
look
because
better on camera or?
I think because it doesn't matter. Like on camera, they can make you look as tall as they want you to look.
Okay, whatever.
So just I think some of them are still tall, but it's just not as like it's just not as much of an incentive because in the
Mm-hmm.
real world, there's no way to hide it if you're short, but on camera you can.
Yeah, that's true. Put them on boxes.
Like I think Tom Cruise is really short.
He's little.
But I wonder if that makes you like maybe it makes you try harder in other areas.
Yeah, he's got to make up for it.
He's really hardworking and very fit. Partially
he
because he's not he feels self-conscious.
he does his own stunts.
Yeah.
He
People
does do
say
some crazy shit.
yeah. People say he's a really good person to work with.
Bad person to be married to.
So it seems. Like I saw this interview with Kirsten Dunst where she said he sends her a cake every year for Christmas
Aw,
because they worked together when she was 9. And
that's so sweet. He just got this list of people he's sending treats to.
yeah. Do you have any thoughts before we sign off? Eras Tour is back tomorrow.
Let's go. I'm excited to see the new part.
You think she's gonna cut the Archer?
I'm ready for it to just go. But I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't cut anything and just adds.
You're just gonna go 4 hours?
I think because it's like 3:15 right now, I think. And remember in the Eras Tour film, she goes a 3.5 hour show. So that could have been a little Easter egg to be like, I'm adding 15 minutes.
Dang, you might be right.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody else said that on the internet. I can't take credit.
Because she was like, I'm doing a 3.5 hour show with like 5 albums.
Yes.
And now she is.
But here we are.
Yeah,
She told us.
she could easily add in like 3 songs.
Yeah.
And just call it good and not delete anything.
Yep. I'd be sleeping on the floor. I was struggling through midnights. I was like, I know I love this, but I just want to go to bed.
Did you have any caffeine?
I can't remember if I had caffeine, but I started drinking beer to be like, I need something to keep me going.
Yeah.
And I was like nervous for whatever reason. So I thought beer was the right choice.
I support it.
But I couldn't like go get more. I couldn't miss a show. And then I would
Yeah.
have to pee.
That's hard. They should have had the guys in the stands like they do
Yeah,
at baseball
like
games.
exactly. Why didn't they? Like the football, they're there every Sunday.
Yeah. People probably would have been cranky if they were obstructing the view or whatever.
Oh, you're right.
Do
not fuck with Swifties.
not. Vodka Diet Coke really does the trick next time you're in that situation.
I'd be sleeping on the floor. I just have to say, while we're talking about Swifties, so like we're casual Swifties.
Casual.
We're normal. Swifties online are so fucking annoying. We don't have to air this part. I cannot stand Swifties. And I am a Swiftie. They're just so aggressive.
Yeah.
And for what? It just makes everybody hate us.
I mean, not us personally.
Yeah, we're cool. We're cool Swifties.
Some of the coolest Swifties, you know. Yeah, they're pretty annoying, and I feel like they need stuff. I mean, being passionate about Taylor Swift, I think, is totally fine, but it should not be the thing in life that you are the most passionate about. So
it should not be a full-time thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I support that, and yeah, they shouldn't be. Sometimes they can be pretty mean, and you know, Taylor Swift wrote a song about being mean, and
she sure did.
Maybe you guys should listen to it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Taylor has a great re-entry into the Eras Tour, and if you haven't seen The Idea of You yet, you should see it. It's a good feel good. I
have a question. Is this when Paramore starts opening?
Yeah, Paramore's on tomorrow.
Cool. I'm excited to see their set too.
Castle's Crumbling.
Do you think they're gonna do it?
Yes, they better.
During the acoustic set?
I bet they'll do it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in her head.
When did she? So remember she did Nothing New with what's her face, blonde girl.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe. Okay. Was that it was before the acoustic set? Maybe.
I think it was before Taylor's. No, it wasn't. I don't know.
Because they did it acoustic, just her and Phoebe. They didn't have the band.
You might be right. I think you're right. I think it was before.
All right, that's what I'm expecting for Castle's Crumbling.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Tomorrow we'll find out. tomorrow
Yep.
afternoon because of the time difference.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Love
See
it.
you there.
All right, everybody, we're your bitch pack friends.
Bye.